Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, powerhouse kings and queens, welcome to my channel. I'm Zupu Goggins, I'm a fragrance freak, and let me explain what I have for you today. Now, you might be wondering why I've called this video Cheap as Beep. Allow me to tell you why. I'm bringing you today a fragrance which is very nice, the performance is very good, but more importantly, it is cheap as alright? Now, the fragrance of which I speak is none other than Lomani Virtual. Allow me to take it out of the box. Excuse me, itchy nose. I have the dry down on my right arm and I'm going to freshly spray on my left. The bottle is pretty rubbish, but I'm going to skip past that because we don't really mind. It's a great juice. Lid's rubbish. Solid plastic that mind. The sprayer is where I want to concentrate first of all. Now, when people ask me how much I'm going to put on, if I were to tell you that I put on 10 to 12 sprays of this, you'd probably say, Zoop, that's too much, even for an oversprayer like you. But no, allow me to demonstrate something. It depends, it's subjective, isn't it? It depends how much comes out of the sprayer, obviously, doesn't it? Watch this one. Here's one spray of this, Lomani Virtual. There you are. Now I have, for comparison, just to show you the sprayer, and also I have a comparison to make with the smell as well. This is Jacques Bogart Pour Homme, right? Allow me to show you how much comes out of this one. I'm going to keep my arm away from that one so you don't accuse me of cross-contaminating. Of course it smells similar, Zoop. You've got a layering on there. Here we go. One spray of this one. Whoosh! 3 times the amount comes out of that one in one spray. So 10 to 12 sprays of this is equivalent to about 4 sprays of that one. See what I mean? So, going to give this one a try. Here we go. Like I said, I've got it dried down on this side and I'm putting it on fresh here. So, 1, 2. Going to give that a little wave around. Like, I don't like to inhale them straight away because, you know, those rehab days are behind me. Freshly sprayed, straight up the nose, chemicals, alcohol, all that kind of stuff. Just give it a little wave around. The sillage is very good. It's beasting at me already. For anybody who's not a fragrance enthusiast or maybe watching this because they're just a friend of mine, they're watching the video, sillage is a French word meaning trail or wake. It's basically the trail that a fragrance leaves behind it. Going in for a smell now. The first thing that comes to mind when I smell it initially is it reminds me a lot of the opening of Jacques Bogart Pour Homme. It's got the same dry, tobacco-y, tonka bean sweetness, powdery that one does. And when I'm mentioning tobacco, I don't mean like a ashtray cigarette kind of tobacco, which although some fragrances do have that, and anyway, I mean like an unlit cigar type of tobacco, a nice kind of tobacco smell, like the natural leaf itself, yeah, not like a cigarette. So that's what I get first out of it. Jacques Bogart Pour Homme, slight similarity, quite strong similarities in fact. Then an overwhelming blast of spices. It's like a medley of spices. I'm getting a largely cardamom, some possibly coriander seed, something like maybe cumin, but that'll be slightly in the background, and some pepper and just a mix of spices. Very nice, very spicy indeed. Possibly cinnamon, something like that. It's very sweet. Then I'm getting a muskiness, then I'm getting some florals. I initially thought that the floral in this was saffron. I was wrong about that because I tried to work out the notes of this just by smelling it myself. I did get a lot of the things right, but I thought there was saffron and there's not at all. It happens to be heliotrope and something else, I can't remember. But there's amber and there's some patchouli in here and stuff like that. But the note breakdown for me goes like a tobacco, like a honeyed sweetness, a tonka dryness, a tonka dry sweetness, a sort of a powderiness, and then a muskiness, and then some floral kind of vibe in here, and almond, a strong dose of almond. And I mean more like the skin of an almond, the sort of dry, bitter kind of skin smell, rather than a sweet thing like you would get in Givenchy pie or something like that. And while we're talking about almonds, there's a bit of a household debate going on in my place, right? I say it's pronounced almonds. My missus says it's pronounced almonds, but she's got a black eye now, so it's almonds. All right, let's move on before I get done for domestic abuse. Now, performance. I've just done 2 sprays there, as you saw. I wear this one quite a bit. As you can see, there's a large dent in that. I've only had it for about 3 months, and considering that I rotate, I think you'll all agree that's quite high usage. Performance is absolutely excellent for me, really seriously. I tried this on yesterday, just to remind myself, because it's now, the weather's changed, and I was doing it a lot during the end of the winter. But I went quite heavy on it, because I do, 1, 2, 3 on that side, 1, 2, 3 on that side, and a couple on the neck, whatever, chest, or whatever. But I could still smell it this morning. That was yesterday early afternoon, and it was still on there this morning, and not as a dig your nose in skin scent. I mean, you could still smell it from a few inches away, so the longevity is superb. I'm putting the actual projection on this one firmly in the realms of beast mode, absolutely firmly. For the first 2 hours, it's beasting, seriously. After that, another 2 hours of still projecting heavily, and then it doesn't really stop projecting at all until way down the line, and when it just becomes a sort of one of those closer scents, It doesn't become a skin scent until hours and hours and hours later. That's it for me. I know that some people are going to have different performance with it, and there's a skin thing, and what your weather is, and what you're doing, and all that kind of stuff, but for me, it's absolutely superb. Really good for the price, and I'll get to the price point as well. This Lomani Virtual, a 100ml of men's eau de toilette, is £15 from a place called Beauty Base. I know you can get it online in the States for cheaper than that, but in this country, Great Britain, that's the price you can get it for in a place called Beauty Base. They do sell online if you can't. I think it's a London-based store, so it might be difficult to get if you're not in London, but they do sell online, so it's a really good one for that price, in my opinion. Also, it's, I would say, definitely unisex if you like a kind of slightly masculine, heavy, spicy, sweet kind of scent, that kind of thing. I think it's not too aggressively masculine, it's not too butch, and that kind of manly kind of masculine thing. It can go a little bit either way. What I will mention about it is that it is very synthetic. When I first sprayed it on, you can get that really synthetic vibe, but these days most fragrances are synthetic, aren't they? Especially the cheaper ones. I mean, with IFRA breathing down the community producers' necks and stuff like that, making it difficult, the International Fragrance Association banning all these substances, and making it difficult for the perfumers to do what they want to do. And it's not so much about the things being illegal to use now, it's more about allergies and stuff like that for people, and then it's going to cause reactions in 1 in 1,000 or whatever people. What I say about that is, one puffy face out of 1,000, for the rest of us as enjoyment, you'll have to live with it. I don't mean that, I wouldn't want to be the one with the puffy face, but just wear some essential oils and put it on your clothing, don't spray it on your skin or whatever, What it is that we just have to live with that. But it is synthetic. What happens though is that as the dry down kicks in, that synthetic element dies back a lot, and you're left with it smells a lot more natural and more blended, which I'll explain in a moment. Okay, so this side is still smelling quite synthetic, but you've got that note breakdown of the tobacco, spices, musk, almond, some florals. That's how the note breakdown. I'll get some amber as well, something like that. There's vanilla, so that's where the sweetness of the vanilla and tonka that's coming from. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the dry down side here. Vast improvement. That was put on about 2-3 hours ago, and it's got the same, obviously, note breakdown and structure as this side, but what's happened to it is that rather than it being like defined segments of scent, it's seems to have blended itself on my skin, so it's a lot smoother. The harsh chemical aspect of it has died back a lot. and I'm just left with like a natural blending of all of those spices which I mentioned on this side. It's really, really nice. You need to give it a little while. I enjoy the actual opening of it, like in the same way that I enjoy the opening of Jacques Bogart Pour Homme, or I enjoy the opening of Versace The Dreamer. You know, it's nothing like Versace The Dreamer. It's not even in the same category of fragrance at all. But I mean, a lot of people complain about the opening of that fragrance, and I really enjoy that one. I enjoy the opening of this. It's very nice, still nice. But this, on the dry down, it becomes a different animal altogether. It's a lot more complete, a lot more rounded, a lot more cozy, warm, and singular as a scent. A little thing I came up with about this, and it's going to sound really silly, but do bear with me, right, is I imagine, right, a little daydream I had, so I'm going to share it with you. Imagine that Jacques Bogart Pour Homme had a baby with Dolce & Gabbana Intenso, right? And after a while, the Dolce & Gabbana Intenso got annoyed with Jacques Bogart Pour Homme, because Jacques Bogart, Pour Homme was going to the bookies every day and spending what little money he did have on bets and smoking too much cigarettes, and he had a terrible dress sense anyway, so Intenso chucked him out, right? Now along came Thierry Mugler's Amen, the original one, and found Miss Intenso with her own on the baby and said, I'll look after you and the baby, right? So Thierry Mugler's Amen and Intenso moved to India with the baby randomly, opened up a spice and nuts stall like you do, and the baby spent its whole time in the spices, rubbing the spices in its hair, and eating the spices and eating the almonds, all right? That's what this would smell like. Jacques Bogart Pour Homme, Dolce & Gabbana Intenso, Mugler Amen, and a load of spices and almond. That's what you have there. It sounds like a complicated, nightmarish mix, but just try and picture that as if that's what I get from it. Call me insane, a lot of other people do. Have I mentioned everything I need to mention about the fragrance itself? It does. I remember this one here. I brought this one out because it reminds me slightly of Darige by Versace, which is actually a lot more rounded, natural, and less synthetic smelling than that one is. This one's a lot softer, and probably not as harsh as the Lomani, but the Lomani is more along these lines once it's dried down a lot. So it has similarities to that, but it's its own thing as well. So I respect it for being its own thing. I'm trying to say it smells like all these other things, but I'm just trying to give you a mental picture of what it's going to smell like. You can get a tester of it in Beauty Base, but if you order it online, it's obviously going to be a blind buy, but it's only £15, so just do it, all right? Oh yeah, another thing I meant to mention is that in this, actually, when I'm going through that notes breakdown, I'm constantly just slightly reminded of a little citrus element that tries to make through. There is a tiny bit of freshness in this as well. There's like a lime, maybe a bergamot kind of smell just in the background going, hey guys, let me in. And the big boys of the club, the bouncers, are saying, no, you're not coming in with those flip-flops on, son. You can take your cheery enthusiasm and your brightness and sod off. Stand in the back and behave yourself like a good boy. We tolerate your presence, but we're not letting you in. Stand outside. So the freshness is kind of is shoved right down to the back. That's just about it then, I reckon. In a nutshell, £15, well worth it. Give it a try. Yeah. If you don't like it, you can come round to my house and I'll pretend not to be in, right? There is something else I wanted to share with you today. It is not fragrance related, but it's something that I just thought of the other day, and I thought people need to know this stuff, you know? This is an educational video as well as a fragrance video, so bear with me, right? You know when people talk about the glass, is it half full or is it half empty? Well, I'm going to clear that up right now, okay? This is my glass, my lovely masculine manly glass, and this is my water. Now I think, is the glass half full, is the glass half empty, is less to do with negativity, positivity, pessimism or optimism, and more to do with practicality and the order in which you choose to do things. Allow me to show you. Here is an empty glass. See if I can do that without pouring it on my leg. Nope. Okay. That glass is half full. See if I can get it in the glass. Here we go. Are you ready? That glass is half empty. And don't say I don't do anything for the generations that are still coming through the learning process of this country, or from this country. I've been Zoopy Goggins. Thank you very much for being with me this morning, afternoon or evening, wherever it happens to be for you. You can comment if you wanna down there. You can like if you like. You can subscribe if you would. You can press the notification thingy for some notification thingies. As if you don't, I'll come round to your house, I'll knock at your door and I'll say, if you don't press the notifications thingy, I'll stand on your doorstep and sing until 2 in the morning, and you don't want that, do you? Take care, all the best, catch you again, and I'll think of a catchphrase soon.